So I've been talking a lot about these latest iPhones, the iPhone 13s and 13 Pros, but I want to rewind back and talk about the first iPhone that I ever loved. Now, the first iPhone I ever had, really, that I used on an everyday basis was the iPhone 6 Plus. This was the phone that I switched from an LG G2 to a iPhone 6 Plus essentially, and I liked that phone. It was pretty much too big for me at that time, but I got used to it fairly fast, and then I switched over to the 6S Plus, and at that time it was a big difference, but I couldn't really tell because my use case wasn't really that crazy. But then I switched over to the iPhone 7 Plus, and I can truly say that that was the first iPhone that I truly loved, that I actually used on an everyday basis. Now, what separated this phone from the previous two devices? I think the first thing is probably the build quality. Although they kind of felt the same, the 7 Plus, the one that I had, the jet black version, looked so amazing, and it was one of my favorite looking iPhones of all time. It still is, I think, regarded as one of the best looking devices that Apple's ever made, and in my opinion, I 100% agree with that. It looked so beautiful. I still think it looks so good, and I'll definitely recommend you that if you ever want to look at an iPhone that looks beautiful, definitely look at the jet black iPhone 7 Plus or 7. Those are beautiful looking. But another thing on top of that is actually the camera quality. The previous two iPhones, although the 6S Plus did bring 4K, we didn't get that extra sensor on the back until the 7 Plus. And I thought it was kind of weird at first, but after a little bit of time, I actually kind of grew into it, and I actually kind of started liking it at that point. So with the 7 Plus, you're getting a better build quality, and you were getting essentially just better camera quality too. But another thing that I really liked about the 7 Plus was the speed of that thing. That thing's performance was so fast, and this was, I think, the first time that I had the current generation iPhone when it was still being sold. Usually I was like 1 or 2 generations behind, so if an iPhone 7 was out, I would probably have like an iPhone 6 or 6S, but this time the 7 Plus was out when I bought the iPhone 7 Plus, so I did buy it in the used market, so I got a really good price on it, but that thing is still pretty fast for the most part. And there were jailbreaks out that came out for this thing at some point, and I had a really good experience with it. I loved that phone a lot, but the battery life of that phone was so crazy. I cannot believe how good that battery life was. Now looking back, my iPhone 12 probably has better battery life than that thing, but at that time, I think it was iOS 10 that we had on that specific iPhone. It was very impressive what Apple was able to do at that time, and I'm going to be honest, that period of time with the 7 Plus, for some reason, I loved that experience. I loved that, point a lot. And I definitely do think that out of all the iPhones that I ever owned, I think the 7 Plus was the first iPhone that I loved. The other ones I liked. The 6S Plus I liked a lot, but the 7 Plus is probably the first one that I actually truly loved because I just had a really good experience with it. Since then, I think the next one was the iPhone 10, and then probably the iPhone 11 Pro was up there too. But the 7 Plus is probably the first one I loved. So that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.